Hello, I'm Ali Smith.
And I'm Nick Kendrew.
We're both part of the Red Whale team.
Come with us to reignite your passion for primary care.
Welcome to the I saw the first snowdrops blooming in my garden this morning primary care pod from Red Whale.
The primary care pod from Red Whale.
So grab your preferred drink of choice or your trainers and bring your hopes for the new year. Here's what's bubbling up in the Red Whale Aquarium for the second time this month. Wintering, time to restore ourselves. We share an article from our lifestyle medicine course offering a roadmap to well-being that we can use to support ourselves, family members and patients as we embark on 2025. And as you've probably worked out by now, this second episode of the month is dedicated to one pearl, and that is Roadmap to Wellbeing, Microskills for Positive Change. Now, this one took me 30 minutes to read, so give yourself a bit of time for this, and it's worth every second of your time. Maybe a relaxing chamomile tea and some classical music in the background to help you focus, maybe even a long soak in the bath. Oh, there's a thought. I've got my favourite muscle soak bubble bath that would be fabulous for this. So, Ali, what did this one mean for you?
Sometimes when people talk about well-being, I can feel myself start to just tense up and feel even more stressed because, we've all got busy lives, haven't we? I've got young kids and I've got work, and like a lot of clinicians, I can be a bit of a perfectionist. And so when someone sort of says, this is how you're supposed to do well-being, these are things you're supposed to be doing to look after yourself, I just think, oh no, I'm not doing well-being properly. This is another thing for me to feel guilty about, and I don't want to engage with it. But what I like about this pearl is that we're not going to go and tell you to go and have a bubble bath or do some mindfulness. It's more about ways of thinking about things and approaching things, and it's things that you can pick and choose from. And we also acknowledge what I think is a really important point, which is sometimes the solutions are bigger than steps we can take alone. So sometimes it's about structural change in the workplace, even on a wider level. Sometimes there's the societal things that make it very difficult to look after our well-being. So it's not all on us. And also, I know you're about to talk in more detail in a minute about sometimes we need professional support through things. So, it's not about making you feel bad that you're not doing enough, and it's not all on you. But yeah, it's really useful stuff.
Yes, and some of us have been lucky enough to have a break over the festive period. And when we stop, particularly when life is as busy as it is in general practice, we often reflect on things that we might want to change, or sometimes realise that we might need some help. If that's you, then you're not alone. Please do seek support. There is much that we can't change, but at this time of year, new beginnings, new hope, we wanted to share an article from our lifestyle medicine course. It offers a roadmap to well-being, which we can use to support ourselves, our family members and patients as we embark on 2025. As clinicians, it's essential to look after ourselves as well as caring for others. And in this pearl, we explore some microskills that can help us make positive changes in our own well-being and also support our patients to take active steps to improve their emotional and physical health. Now, the article on Red Whale Knowledge was updated in May 2024, and you might also want to refer to our associated articles on Red Whale Knowledge, including Motivating Behavioural Change, Behavioural Activation, and 5 Ways to Wellbeing. Now, if you are struggling with your own mental health or well-being, then you might wish to refer to some of our other articles on clinician well-being, and I'll put a link to those in the show notes. Now, if you need some more formal help, then please self-refer to Practitioner Health, which is a free, confidential NHS primary care mental health and addiction service with expertise in treating healthcare professionals. Now, I'm going to put a link to their website in the show notes. And don't forget that you can also text SHOUT to 85258. That's SHOUT to 85258. And it's there 24/7 for you for urgent mental health support. So please do get some help if you need it. It's also worth saying that whilst enhancing personal well-being can provide a buffer against the challenges of life and work, it can't be viewed as a sticking plaster that ignores the impact of work-related pressures, for example, excessive workload, poor communication, a lack of respect, or working in a culture of fear and blame. Efforts to improve our personal well-being must go hand in hand with fundamental organisational change to ensure healthy, supportive and positive workplaces. So what is well-being, Ali?
Well, one simple definition of well-being is that it's a combination of feeling good and functioning well. We've taken that from the Health and Quality of Life Outcomes 2020. Well-being is a multidimensional concept that affects people's emotions, thoughts, behaviour and relationships. It's not simply the absence of illness, and it's possible to live with a health condition and still experience high levels of well-being. Nevertheless, physical and mental health can both influence well-being, and in turn, well-being also influences health. Well-being includes several dimensions, things like experiencing positive emotions such as happiness, contentment and satisfaction with life, having a sense of purpose and developing positive relationships, functioning well on a personal and a social level, including developing our own potential and having control over our lives. And our personal definition of well-being may also be affected by things like age and cultural differences. For example, younger people might place more emphasis on things like happiness, kindness, fun and safety as being central to well-being, whereas evidence has shown that for older people, concepts such as meaning and purpose might become more important. And that comes from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health in 2023. So why is well-being important, Nick?
Because, Ali, in short, well-being matters, and it's been linked to success in professional, personal and interpersonal areas of life. Individuals with high levels of well-being may have improved performance at work, higher life satisfaction, they're able to learn more effectively and have increased creativity, pro-social behaviours and positive relationships. And this is from Health and Quality of Life Outcomes in 2020. Wellbeing may also be associated with a number of positive physical health outcomes, including an improved immune system response, higher pain tolerance, increased longevity, cardiovascular health, slower disease progression, and improved reproductive health. So, of all of those, what's not to love? And all that is from the Department of Health 2014, the relationship between wellbeing and health, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes.
So we're going to think about how we can put all of this together to help us improve our well-being. And we're going to talk about the 6 letters in growth, or 6 steps towards well-being. And these growth steps were first described in the book Boosting Your Mental Wellbeing, 10-Minute Steps for Stressed Healthcare Professionals Using CBT and Mindfulness by Lee David and Debbie Bruin, published by Scion Publishing in 2023. And full disclosure, Lee David, one of the authors, she is one of our colleagues, a Red Whale presenter and author and lead on the mental health team. So Lee and her colleagues' model aims to help both patients and clinicians move towards positive mental health and improve well-being. And the 6 steps were developed from several theoretical backgrounds, including CBT, behavioural activation, compassion-focused therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, and mindfulness. However, this section of the Pearl is not designed to be an evidence-based review, but rather a collection of practical tools that might be useful in our own lives, as well as to support patients who seek our help. It's not necessary to use all the steps at once or to follow a rigid or linear pathway that moves through each step in turn. You can use them in any order, and you might also choose to focus on just 1 or 2 areas that seem most relevant to a particular person. So we're going to give you an overview of the 6 growth steps, each one corresponding to a letter in the word growth.
And step 1 is guide. Focus on your core values. So our guide acts as an inner compass which points in the direction of our most important values. Following a guide involves seeking out our own personal why and helps to ensure that our lives align with what matters to us as unique individuals, making decisions and choosing actions that have personal meaning, a wider purpose, and that are important to us. Exploring values can help motivate people to make changes that may improve their health and well-being, even if these require effort, or when change involves facing challenges or coping with uncomfortable sensations or emotions. So you might be thinking, what even are values? Well, values refer to long-term core priorities about what we find meaningful and important in life. And examples would include family, kindness, courage, and caring. And there's a whole table of values to choose from if you want some inspiration. So knowing your values can help you make choices that are consistent with who you want to be as a person. For example, if you value being a loving, caring parent, it's worth making the effort to take time to engage with your family after a busy day at work. If you value closeness and connection in your relationships at work, it's worth making the effort to have lunch or a coffee break with colleagues rather than simply pushing through and ignoring your need for interaction. Having settled on your values, you also need to consider how they balance in relation to different areas of your life, and there is a wellbeing wheel in the article to help you do that.
So step 2 in our growth model is R, standing for ready for action, looking at small, helpful changes in behaviour. So being ready to take action is a behavioural skill that involves making active choices about how we react to the changing circumstances of our lives. So it's often easier to change our actions than it is to change our attitudes or emotions, and we can take small behavioural steps in the direction of key values even when we face difficulties such as health problems, emotional changes, or challenging life events. So being ready to take action includes doing things because they're important or meaningful, even if we also experience negative thoughts, difficult feelings, or lack of motivation. And it includes being willing to try something new rather than staying stuck in old habits or patterns of behaviour. And it involves linking actions to values as well. And values focus on the journey and route that we travel rather than on specific goals or outcomes. So when planning actions, it helps with motivation and makes them more meaningful if they're linked to important values. For example, if you value education, an action might be to read a book or study for a qualification or learn a new skill. Or for a value such as health or well-being, goals might be to improve your diet or develop a regular exercise habit or include time for relaxation or winding down in your day. And it's important here to ensure that changes are small and realistic. So to make behaviour changes easier to achieve, they can involve what we call micro steps. These take only a few minutes and are very realistic and easy to complete. One microstep by itself is unlikely to completely resolve a major life problem, but even though it might seem small and insignificant, completing microsteps can build someone's confidence and self-belief in their ability to make a change and can lead to bigger changes over time in a snowball effect. Microsteps also help people become less rigid or stuck in negative habits of thinking and behaviour.
Step 3 is open and observe mindfulness skills to stay present and engaged. Learning to open and observe involves noticing what's going on inside you and in the world around you. And this can help you understand yourself better and make decisions and cope more effectively under pressure. Learning to notice your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in negative or catastrophic thinking styles can help you focus on important activities in the here and now and get more contentment and enjoyment from life. Using brief mindfulness does not need to involve a lengthy time commitment. In a consultation, it may involve noticing when somebody is experiencing a strong emotion and offering validation and support, or encouraging them to take a pause and slow breathe to steady themselves before continuing the discussion. Some examples of brief open and observe skills that we can bring into our daily life include focus on an everyday activity. So practice taking a shower or brushing your teeth, having a drink or taking a short mindful walk with a little more awareness. Notice what you can see, hear, touch, smell and taste during the experience. Or there's mindful listening. So take a few minutes to focus on a piece of music or listen to the sounds outside your window. Close your eyes and really listen. Notice the different instruments and the vocals and any rhythms or patterns. If your mind wanders, then gently bring it back to the sound as soon as you notice. And I can also thoroughly recommend that you have a look at the full article to learn how to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique.
I just say, Nick, I found you describing that technique really relaxing to listen to.
Oh,
it was lovely.
That's nice.
So we're on to step 4 now of the growth model, which is W for wise mind. And that's about finding balanced and flexible thoughts and choices. So our mind is our inner voice, and it includes our thoughts, beliefs, ideas, expectations, memories, and personal stories. It enables us to make complex decisions and plans, and it can be an incredibly powerful and useful tool. But at other times, our mind can be negative and unhelpful, focusing on everything that's gone wrong, blaming ourselves unfairly, and becoming preoccupied by potential future catastrophes. Using wise mind involves stepping back and remembering that we don't have to believe everything our mind tells us, especially if it's telling us something negative or unhelpful. So some qualities of a wise mind include thinking flexibly, looking for ways to overcome challenges and cope with problems, finding perspective and looking at the big picture, being supportive, encouraging, friendly and fair, both to ourselves and to others, and remembering our strengths and qualities, even when facing difficulties or when something has gone wrong. So here are some ways to develop and use wise mind. So we're going to give you a couple of examples here, but there's a lot more in the article. So one way is to say thoughts aloud or write them down, because labelling thoughts can help to create some space around negative or painful thoughts. You don't have to buy into or react instantly to the thought. Instead, you can let it pass by and continue doing what's important. So you could label the thought by saying, I'm having the thought that, or my mind is telling me that. And then another step is to seek support and encouragement. So imagine that you're talking to a supportive friend or a mentor. How might they inspire or motivate you? So you could say, I would tell my friend that she's doing her best and there's no need to be so hard on herself. Or you could say, my trainer is always supportive and tells me I can do it, even when it feels difficult.
I don't mind saying that I've had some CBT in the past for various things, and this bit is very familiar. So it's really nice to sort of have that a refresher on that. So step 5 of the growth model is treat yourself kindly, motivate yourself with compassion and care. So if we're looking at treat yourself kindly, then when we're struggling to make changes or are living with pain, uncomfortable physical symptoms, challenging life situations or difficult emotions such as anxiety or low mood, then we may become our own worst critic, giving ourselves a hard time and blaming ourselves for everything that's gone wrong. Now, repeatedly getting into a habit of self-criticism or blame can have a big impact on confidence and mood and can make it harder to make long-term changes in health, such as sticking to healthy eating or physical activity habits. 3 different emotion systems work together to help us feel happy and content and to cope with stressful life events and challenges. So the threat system, this alerts us to potential danger and helps us to take action to stay safe. Overuse of the threat system can lead to anxiety, stress, and irritability as we live with an exaggerated sense of danger and risk. The drive system, so this acts to energize and excite us, helping us notice opportunities and achieve important goals. But overuse of the drive system can lead to excessive striving, exhaustion, and addiction. Underuse can lead to low mood or depression. If drive becomes linked with threat, it can also lead to self-criticism and fear of failure. And then we have the calm and connect system, and this helps us to experience feelings of contentment, safety, and self-compassion. It's sensitive to closeness and bonding with others and helps us recover when facing problems or when things go wrong. So we explore this in more detail in the article Self-Care and Compassion, the 3 circles model. And if you want to find out how to shrink the threat circle, balance the drive system, and grow the calm and connect circle, it's all in the article. But let's consider how to shrink the circle of threat here. So for this, we would use open and observe that we discussed earlier. And you do that to recognize and acknowledge our internal response to threat, reduce preoccupation with threat or risk, and decide how to respond helpfully to stressful situations. We then look to cut down on unhelpful behaviours that keep the cycle of anxiety going, such as excessive avoidance, checking, or reassurance seeking. And then we would step into the drive system by engaging in a meaningful activity such as physical exercise to shift attention away from threat-based thoughts and feelings.
So finally, we're on step 6 of the growth model, and that is H for healthy life habits to support physical and emotional well-being. Building healthy life habits involves finding ways to create healthy routines and patterns of living that will maximise our physical and emotional well-being. And that can include a range of behaviours such as being physically active, healthy nutrition, Other ways of maintaining a healthy body, getting enough sleep, taking care of long-term conditions and physical illnesses, and cutting back on unhealthy choices such as alcohol or drug use. And we've summarised some important areas that can influence well-being in a table in the article. For physical activity, for example, useful questions to ask yourself might include: are you active during the day, or do you spend a lot of time sitting or lying? How much physical activity do you carry out each week? And how much makes you feel slightly out of breath?
So in bringing it all together, there are some examples of questions or reflections that you could use for each step in growth. And you could use these in a consultation with a patient or when thinking about difficulties that you're facing yourself. Remember, you don't need to use all the steps or all of the questions. Just pick one or two areas that seem helpful and start from there. So here are your learning points for Roadmap to Wellbeing. Wellbeing involves a range of dimensions, including experiencing positive emotions, having a sense of purpose, and being able to function well. Wellbeing has been associated with improvements in quality of life, interpersonal effectiveness, and physical health outcomes.
The 6 growth steps are a series of microskills that can support well-being. These include guide, focus on your personal values, what you care about, and your life direction. Ready for action, prepare for change, and take small behavioural steps towards what matters.
Open and observe, use mindfulness skills to step back and be more present and engaged. And wise mind, get perspective and choose flexible, helpful responses for each situation.
Treat yourself kindly. Find ways to balance your emotion systems and motivate yourself with compassion. Healthy life habits. Develop healthy routines that support physical and emotional well-being.
Okay, so it's time for our group hug, the part of the podcast that we celebrate getting through a difficult day in primary care with our best intention story. Now, thank you to all of you that have emailed in, and also to those of you that have also texted in your stories recently. However, we do need your ongoing help to put a smile on everybody's face. So whilst you listen to the story this month, have a think about what your best intention story would be, and please send it in. And our contact details are in the show notes. So I've got to press that button. And here we go. Dear Ali and Nick. And also the team, it says here. So this is for the team too. I've been really enjoying the podcast. Thanks. And I've got a best intention story for you. Now, after a busy morning, I set out to visit a lady who lived alone and whose family were concerned that she was becoming confused. I hadn't met this lady before and tried to call her family member but couldn't get through. So I set out to see her without a lot of information. I got to her house and a very pleasant and well-kept elderly lady answered the door and was delighted to have a visit from the doctor, and she welcomed me in. She said she wasn't expecting a visit, which I put down to her confusion. We had a lovely chat, and I looked at her medicines and in her fridge, which is all very good, so well done for doing that. And it was only when she mentioned that she normally sees a GP whose name I didn't recognise that I thought to double-check her details. I've been there for quite a while by this point. It was then that I discovered that I was at the wrong address and had just spent 15 minutes with a very friendly and not at all confused patient at a neighbouring surgery. I apologised profusely and I went off round the corner to see the correct patient, feeling very silly. And so the moral of the story is obviously check you're seeing the right patient. But I did get a lovely cup of tea and biscuit out of my mistake, so all was not lost. And that's from M in Stafford.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Em. I'm sure, literally, we can all appreciate that. Maybe we wouldn't have stayed for so long, but I'm sure I've done that in the past. What did you think, Ali? Any words of advice?
Yes. Well, do you know, I'm surprised that they accepted a cup of tea. I think it must have been an incredibly well-maintained house to want to accept a cup of tea. Must be.
So learning points all round there. So thank you very much. And if you've got a best intention story for us, then please do send it in. Ali, you got the Redwell calendar there.
I have indeed. So we've got loads of courses coming up. We've got the urgent care courses, the mental health course and the menopause course. They're all super useful. And there's a GP update season still going on at the moment that you can join live courses for. And also our new trainee package has been really popular, hasn't it, Nick?
Yes, it has. So the GP Trainee Essential Support Package, this is exclusively available to GPST MDU members and affiliates. So if you're one of those, then it's free and it's worth £165 and it's designed to build your knowledge and confidence and help you pass your exams. So what is included in that, I hear you ask? Well, it's really helpful because it's got Red Whale Knowledge Access, which is over 900 written resources to support you during consultations and also with your CPD. And also the Top AKT Topics Digital Handbook, which covers areas that trainees struggle with most, and webinars throughout the training year to support you with your exam preparation. So if you click on the link, then you can sign up for that.
And just to give you the terms and conditions for that package, so the package is completely free for MDU, affiliate and GPST members, but MDU GPST membership itself does carry a charge to sign up. Our GP Trainee Essentials package is a free benefit of affiliate and GPST MDU membership.
Now, if you're hankering after a Red Whale Knowledge subscription, then we're offering a 10% discount on Red Whale Knowledge for our fabulous Red Whale pod members. So how do you become a member, I hear you ask? Well, if you're listening to us, then you are part of our pod. So hello. And all you have to do is you go to redwhale.co.uk, put Red Whale Knowledge in your basket and enter the code RedWhalePod to get 10% off. And here's the small print. The discount is only for this product and it won't work on anything else, as hard as you might try. But please also note that this voucher code is all one word and it's all lowercase. So Red Whale Pod.
And if you've enjoyed listening, then please give us a 5-star rating on whichever platform you use. It only takes a few seconds of your time and we'd really appreciate it. If you can spare it a little more time, then please leave us a nice review. Because of the way the algorithms work, it means that other people just like you can discover us.
And of course, putting algorithms aside, there is no greater recommendation than a word of mouth recommendation. So if you've got some value from listening to the podcast today, then don't keep it a secret. Please tell everybody that you know who might also benefit from listening. All the resources that you need are in the show notes and all the links are in the show description on your preferred podcasting platform.
You can also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and X. And if you want to see something about the podcast, then please use #RedWhalePod.
Yes, and I've just gone and experienced Blue Sky. So I've joined Blue Sky myself, so I wonder if we will end up there someday. So the other thing that you can do if you click on the link in the bio is to leave us a voice message telling us about anything that you found helpful or would like us to go over.
You can also email us. Our address is podcast@red-whale.co.uk. And until next time, I'm Ali Smith.
And I'm Nick Kendrew.
Remember to keep Red Whale Knowledge open on your desktop at work so we're with you when you need that extra bit of information or reassurance.
Take care and look after yourself. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.